Hello people, what's up? Welcome to Restaurant Marketing Session and you are with Iman Sengupta. Now, first of all, let me apologize to you guys because last weekend we couldn't deliver a video. The reason was we were about to talk, regarding space management. But honestly speaking, space management is something which is on a very fine thread, on a fine threshold, to be honest, because it can be boring or it can be interesting. So there is a huge chance of becoming a space management discussion, a space management episode. It can be boring, but I really don't want to make it boring. So today what I'm going to do is, the agenda is, first I'm going to talk about the golden rules, the academics, what the books say about space management for a restaurant, for your kitchen, for your dining area. Second, I'm going to slowly get into the practicality. And third, definitely I'm going to get the interior designer, the architect, who actually work with us and who has been building amazing, interiors and amazing complete restaurant and bar planning and bar layout design. So without much further ado, today we are coming up with space management for your restaurant and bars. Let's go. Alright, now this looks pretty boring, I know, but this cannot help because that is how actually the books say most of the universal rules for fine dining area or for casual dining area. And out here, as we can see, that there is kitchen on the left hand side and the dining area. It is a demo restaurant layout. It is not an ideal restaurant layout because every restaurant layout depends on the exact space that you have, the exact theme that you have, the exact the covers that you want to place there. So it all depends on that. So basically, what we can see out here is kitchen and dining area, but apart from that, there has to be a restroom. There will be bar counter area. There will be your entry or waiting area. So a lot of stuff is going to be there. Now, basically, what we see is the golden rule says. Practically, I'm not sure how that is actually done. We don't generally follow that rule, but that's fine. That 30% to 40% of your space should be provided for your kitchen. That's what the books say. And the main reason is because the kitchen is the main heart. It's a main center for operating your restaurant. If you don't have a proper kitchen, if you do not have a proper space in your kitchen, and if you do not have, say, your prep area, your cooking area, and your storage area, and a lot of stuff should be there. There will be dry storage, there will be wet storage, a lot of stuff will be there. So, and it should be easily accessible for your chef, for your sous chef, to just get what they need and cook fast. And apart from that, there are discussions on restrooms as well, and it is said that if a restroom can be placed near kitchen area, you can actually save money by connecting near the plumbing, the water lines that you have. So you can actually utilize that rather than if you just have say completely at the opposite side the restroom. So then you got to create another plumbing or water channel. And then obviously again it depends on what kind of setup or what kind of space that you have, what is the main origin of the water line and you're going to drag. So it depends a lot of on your practicality, but just as I mentioned, I am just showing you the what the academics say about it. Now, for the dining area, the universal concept goes like this. For fine dining, you actually allocate 18 to 20 square feet per person, or for casual dining, it's 15 to 18 square feet per person. And also, there has to be an entry or waiting area. For casual dining, this area needs to be, you have to take into consideration, to be honest. Now, the occupied chairs that you see out here is basically the golden rule is for occupied chairs, you allot 18 to 20 inches. If you're setting a table, in a parallel manner, then it has to be 42 to 60 inches between the sides. And if it's in diagonal, then 24 to 30 inches between the corners. Now for the kitchen, there are, universal rule for kitchen setup or kitchen layout, where we find one is island type kitchen design, where, you have to consider, your prep area, cooking area, and the server pickup, your serving station, your side station as well. And another one is assembly line, commercial kitchen setup, where you have at the one side your cooking area, just the back your prep area. I mean, if you watch a lot of food videos, you might find this kind of kitchen. I mean, if you've been watching Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, you will find a lot of assembly line kitchen layout where you have one your cooking area and the one front, and just at the back is your prep area. Because definitely you got to figure out to place your. It's not only the burners. You want to have oven. If you're serving Indian, then you will put your tandoor out there. Your deep fat fryers, your grillers, a lot of stuff you need in kitchen. So you have to actually allocate properly your equipments out there. So I guess that's it. That's what more or less, the universal so-called, in quotes, the golden rule for kitchen layout.
All right, so you saw the slides. So what I actually showed you right now is the golden rule, the basics of space management and kitchen layout. As I discussed, eventually I'll be going to the second phase where we will be practically checking how actually you can manipulate a space, what kind of interior, what kind of retail branding you can do, and what kind of comfort you can actually give and provide to your customers. But before I go to that, I really wanted to discuss one thing. You keep seeing that, you keep watching that. Whenever I open the intro, in the intro, I always mention that, welcome to restaurant marketing session. Yes, it is a restaurant marketing session, but you must be wondering, I am still not talking about marketing or promotions, but I keep on talking about choosing location, 5 basic hacks that you should be, considering even if before you, think of marketing your restaurant. I will be talking about, menu planning, pricing, and all that stuff. And today I am talking definitely about space management. But why? The reason is, see, there are 2 phases of if we look at a restaurant cycle completely. So the first phase is from your ideation to your first billing, and the second phase is after that. So phoron does not only help you with restaurant marketing, promotions, ATL, BT, and all that stuff. Also, we definitely go an extra step and help you with your space management, your location, choices of location. How will you do competition analysis? How will you actually do your interior designing, your decor, your branding, your suppliers? How will you hire your manpower? Whom will you hire? So entire phase, before you start your restaurant, phoron covers that, and definitely after the marketing and promotion, definitely phoron takes care of that. So anyway, we have the guy with us today again, Abhishek.
Hello.
Now, hi Abhishek. We were discussing, as you saw, that about space management.
Okay.
So that's the basic funda what we are trying to do right now.
Right.
And we showed, our viewers that what is the exact kitchen layout, what are the golden rules, what are the types of kitchen should be there, what are the types of, where should be a restroom, what is your dining area and all that stuff. What do you think practically, how far can we manipulate, these bookish things?
Before we start anything, we should have a floor plan, right?
Right.
So once you have the floor plan, then you know how the shape of the plot is,
right,
or how much space do you have.
Right.
So once you have the floor plan,
yeah,
and okay, now we can start. The pillars are here,
right,
the angles are here,
right.
Then you start dividing areas. Now, how to divide areas? You divide areas according to classifications,
right,
like the seating area, the entry area, or the service area, the staff entry, the kitchen, the extra spaces like the waiting area for the guests. So once you have the floor plan, now you can start dividing. Okay, this area will be using as a kitchen. This area will be at the seating. In this area we can accommodate the manager. We can keep the cashier. or this has to be the waiting lounge or the
Right.
waiting area. So yeah, so you have to go ahead like this. You have to divide areas.
A lot of times, I've seen, in a lot of restaurants, there are a lot of negative spaces.
Right.
They're not utilizing that.
Absolutely.
But I don't understand why. Say, for example, that's what phoron actually does. We always try and provide, as we're discussing, definitely we do imply that. It is always about smart decor.
Right. Smart decor,
With some conventional ideas and a smart decor with practicality.
right, and smart use of the resources, use of the spaces, right?
Exactly.
Whatever you do, whatever spaces you allocate or whatever planning you do, you should ensure two things, which is very important.
Yeah.
You should ensure the comfort of the guests and the staffs, and you should ensure safety.
Safety as in?
For example, you never keep a storage area in the seating area. You never keep a storage area on top of the guests.
Right.
You never do that. You do not keep a light, somewhere where
Or
the
any
guests are sitting.
fixtures.
On a fixtures around
Yeah.
the guests. You should never do that.
Yeah.
You should ensure comfort. I was telling you, there should be ample space for the guests to spread their legs.
Right.
And sit comfortably. Even the staffs, they should have ample space to move around, to serve, to work in the kitchen. So yeah, so ensure comfort, ensure safety. You should ensure these things.
Fair enough. So that's more or less it, and we are actually going to the third phase of the video, where we'll actually go inside. By the way, where are we now? We are inside Hotel Lytton, and we will be going inside the Sunset Restaurant Bar and Lounge,
Right.
where we have our third member of the team, who is Rahul, who actually happens to be an interior designer, and he's actually the architect of this wonderful Sunset Bar. We'll be going inside and we'll be checking how has he manipulated the space, how has he managed the space like a pro. So let's go there. So here we are, the guest today, Rahul Gupta, sir, and Abhishek, definitely. So Rahul, as we were discussing, outside, that we actually showed a golden rule, of the entire restaurant layout. What kind of kitchens are there, like island type kitchen or assembly line kitchen. What are the ratio of your restaurant floor and your kitchen area. So when you were designing and planning this entire layout for Sunset Resto Bar and Lounge, what was in your mind?
See, when you try and get into making these kinds of places,
Right.
so the first thing is you have to get the whole blueprint, or I should say in layman terms, if you want, the architectural layout of the whole place.
Right.
So through that, when you get that, because that shows your pillars, where your pillars are located, and then you sit and demarcate the whole area. So after demarcation, what you get is the whole, I call it the slate board.
Right.
So you get the slate board, you get all your reference points, because the pillars and all, you cannot really do much about them.
Right.
So you get the slate board, and then you start with your whole planning thing. And like what I do is I divide it into quadrants.
Okay.
Exactly what are the client requirements.
Right.
Like a lot of places, like if it's a cafe kind of thing, they need maybe a smaller kitchen. If it's a resto, they need a bigger kitchen. So that becomes your priority at that time. Then you understand what are the requirements of the client, what exactly he is wanting to make of the place.
That is what I was asking Abhishek also last time, that how do you divide? The golden rule is 60-40 ratio, 40% for the kitchen and 60% for the...
No, it's not like that. See, what you do is, I'll get to it.
Right.
So what it is, you ask the client what exactly he's trying to do with the place.
Right.
If it's a Chinese place, you can go with a smaller kitchen. If it's Indian, so you need a tandoor, you need different kinds of equipment, you need a refrigerator,
Right.
A lot of other things are there. Now this is a pub, so you needed a different kind of kitchen setup, you needed a place for a go down for the liquor, and those
For
go down
inventory, storage and all.
So different kinds of things, all these things come into place, and then you freeze them into one place. So it becomes where your storehouse goes, where what exactly now your kitchen it is. So if it's I'll take this place for an example. So what we did was we finalized ki theek hai fine, this is going to be a pub, so we need this kind of place for liquor storage, and we need this kind of place for kitchen, and then we freeze that area.
So what was the ratio for, did you allocate 30%?
No, I didn't go by ratio. So this place had
approximately, if I look at,
this place had
so if I look at the exact, say for example it's 100%, the entire area, whatever the square feet is, I'm not getting into that. How much space did you allocate, for
I
kitchen?
allocated basically around 20%.
20%.
They have, this place actually has a little different thing because it's a hotel.
It's a hotel as
It's
well.
a hotel.
Yeah.
They have
So
a
they
bigger
common
kitchen. They have
yeah.
a common kitchen, a bigger kitchen. So
Right.
that was
Makes
not
sense.
playing a big part for it.
Makes sense.
But still, I needed a service area because their service area will be different from a restaurant service area.
Right.
So around 20% of the whole area, 15%, 20%, we allocated for kitchen and storage and your service area and that kind of thing.
But don't you think, my question was, see, most of the time the scenario in Calcutta right now is most of the restaurants are serving multi-cuisine. So they are serving Indian, they are serving Chinese, they are serving Conti as well. So you need oven, you need enough burners for your Chinese. You need enough, you need a tandoor as well. So when you are actually getting into a multi-cuisine restaurant and you're serving multi-cuisine dishes, don't you think you are adding up, your kitchen, your prep area has to be larger, because you need to have different kind of equipments and utensils inside the kitchen for preparation.
But if you are going to allot 40% of the area for
that is what I'm saying.
Rule.
That is the thumb rule. That's a golden rule. But you have to
you
manipulate.
go-
I
you
mean, you
have
don't
to
go by the
manipulate.
books.
Yeah, you
There's no
cannot
point.
really go by the books. So
Right.
that is where the requirement comes in.
That is the
if you
smart-
want
smart
that
decor will
smart
come.
decor will
Yeah,
come.
yeah.
Ki what is the sitting capacity the client is looking for?
Right.
Because ultimately the important thing is to raise a business out of it.
Absolutely.
If you are going to sacrifice some area,
So much of area in the kitchen.
area to the kitchen, then obviously it's going to eat up your sitting capacity.
Absolutely.
So
You're making less money at the end,
Yeah,
definitely.
So ultimately, the food is getting cooked at the kitchen, which is important. You have to give it the proper space. But if you allocate a space, then 60%, if you can take some 10% around from there, you will be able to fit in around at least 10-15 people more. So that is a revenue which you are losing if you go by the thumb rule. So this is where what we do is we get in by what the client needs.
Right.
So we go by client needs. What is the kind of sitting capacity he's looking for.
So what did you do special? I mean, what was the manipulation you did out here?
See, this place had a lot of challenges. As in, this is an old property.
Actually.
So this is
It
a
was
very old.
Gaylords, right?
Yeah, this portion where we are sitting, this was Gaylords.
Right.
And there is a separate area which was called the Sunset Bar.
Okay.
So and there is another area which was actually the service area to go to a restaurant which they have upstairs, which is called
Dynasty. Right.
So all these things we had to take into thing, and then all those were walls.
So you kind of clubbed it, like
So we
Gaylords
clubbed
and
it.
Sunset.
We clubbed it, and we had to break down the walls. And it's an old building. There were quite a few challenges because old buildings you really don't know
Right.
what exactly is going to happen. If you break something over here, something else happens onto the other side.
Absolutely.
So all these were challenges. We somehow did few things here and there, minute changes. Like every place will have its own challenges.
Absolutely.
Like you will never get a symmetry in one particular place. This place, the problem was the height was a little less.
So what did you
So
do?
a lot of people go for false ceiling, but we didn't have an advantage of getting a false ceiling done.
Right.
So we had to give it an industrial, what people right now, it's a norm right now, people go for industrial theme,
Yeah.
to give it an open area, all the pipes are visible. But for us it was a compulsion over here. We didn't have an advantage of getting a higher ceiling over here. So we went with the flow, what exactly was required with the place. So the typical challenges, so we clubbed it into, we made it an area as in so that people who are sitting, they feel that they are not losing height.
Right.
They still have something to look up. But people, when they are standing, we try and club a few things into one particular place, like these AC ductings and all.
Right.
We crammed them into one particular place, so that if people are sitting on these chairs, they are not feeling very uncomfortable with those things, and with the ducting and these won't be a problem for them. And people who are sitting at a lower height, they are still getting the advantage of the height. And if See, people are not going to stand on the sofa or something like that, so that it's going to give them a botherish. So these are the challenges which we face.
I must appreciate them. This is wonderfully decorated, this place, and the color that you have used is amazing. What do you think about creating? Say for example, some owner might tell you that I want to build this restaurant a very comfortable, very cozy one. So how do you devise your plan?
See,
Abhishek, you tell me first. How do you devise your plan? How would you devise your plan?
Accordingly, for
So you want to make a restaurant area pretty comfortable, very cozy.
see, first you have to keep two parties in mind. One of the guests and the serving people, the staff. So both should be comfortable. For the guest, there should be ample space to keep their feet, to stretch their feet, to sit comfortably. Be in the comfort zone. And whereas you're talking about the staff, they need places to move between aisles, between two tables to serve properly.
I get that. I'm not talking about that. I mean that comfort is definitely your floor plan and all that stuff. What I'm trying to say is, from the angle of an end consumer. If I'm an end consumer, I am coming here, I want to have my drink, I want to have my food, and I want this to be very cozy. So, what is your take, and how can you make a restaurant comfortable when we talk about it?
First is lights. You have to play with the lights, right? The lights can't be too sharp because it'll cause a problem for the guests.
Right.
You have to play with the light. You have to play with the kind of colors you use. It has to be soothing to the eye.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and things like that. Where the things I was saying about the space also comes in. When they're sitting comfortably, they are dressed, so their eyes, then the color of the walls will come where their eyes will be comfortable. Then the scenic things around, maybe the frames, maybe the accessories you're using, maybe the graffiti on the you're using. These will all club together and take the guests to a comfort zone where they'll come again because they're comfortable. So yeah, lots of things will come into play for the interiors.
Any special insight for you from your side? I mean, you have made this amazingly. I mean, this is completely comfortable. This is cozy, if I may say.
Once you have finalized the kind of sitting which you want, or let's say the sitting capacity which a person needs in one particular place. Now you get into how you want to get the people comfortable and sitting and not lose on the area where the waiters are going to walk, or other people who are standing or having their drink or having their food, they are going to face any problems or something like that. So the first thing what you do is try and utilize the walls. The first thing, that is the most important, you try and utilize the walls.
Right.
So what does is important in space management is if you can get your sitting onto the walls. What it does is it leaves rest of the place free to utilize and use it in a proper way.
Right.
So this is what we did. We tried and use the walls into and become a part of the sitting capacity. So we pushed all the seating, the cozy seating what we need. Now you need a lower height sofa. If it's a higher end sofa, height sofa, it doesn't become very cozy. So you need to understand this. What is the leg length of a person?
Right.
How does a normal person come and sit in one particular place?
Right.
So these things you consider, and then you allot your layout in that way. Fine, I'm going to make people sit in this kind of way, or if you want people to sit in 6, like I'll take into numbers. Like if you want people to sit in 6 groups or 8 groups, but there are bigger groups as well. So you have to plan it out as in if you get a bigger group but still they become apart. So you have to, what we do is we try and break the seating into 3 parts or 4 parts. And then if it's a bigger group, it can still be combined, and if it's a smaller group, they can still feel cozy and they have their own space.
Right.
So these are the very important things which you have to consider on deciding on the layout.
But I don't think so. I mean, see, if the size of this sofa would have been, that the height of the sofa would have been higher, it still would have been comfortable, but it would have blocked the eye, the visuals.
Yes.
It looks right now pretty open.
Yes, these things, and if the sofa height is little higher, what it does is right now we can move our head like this. Right. Now the way you are sitting, you won't
Absolutely,
be able to sit in this way.
Right.
So you need to understand these kinds of comfort. So these things play a very important part.
Because see, I'm a complete end user guy, so it is very important for end users to be comfortable, and that is how they'll feel like, okay, fine, this is my signature place. I'm gonna go and party there. If I'm sad, I'm gonna go have my drinks there.
Bring my friends there.
Bring my friends. If I'm happy, I'm gonna throw a party out there. So that's how you choose. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Like this is a place where you're going to spend at least 4 hours, 5 hours.
Absolutely.
So you cannot have seating in a way so that people come and after 1 hour they start feeling cramped up.
Right.
Or they get like, okay, fine, if I could have stretched my legs a little bit, I would have felt a little comfortable. Like these things. So this is how a person has to plan it out. Like a higher sofa will look nice, it will look a lot more cozier, as in it will segregate your place, it will divide your place into parts.
Right.
But that is not going to give you the comfort. Like after 1 hour or a couple of hours, you are going to feel that if I could have raised my hand a little bit, if I could have sat like I sit in my house, then you are going to come and chill and sit and spend some time over here. You're coming here just to have a couple of days. You're coming here to de-stress yourself.
So they tell me one thing, as you were mentioning that you have actually pushed the seating area to the walls. So when you push the seating area to the wall, that definitely you are getting a lot of space to use. But don't you think once you push the entire seating area just only to the walls, you are getting a lot of space out there as well? So don't you think you can utilize that space as well? You can actually gain more covers.
The rest of it. This is what see now. If there are pillars, like in this place we had these 4-5 pillars.
Right.
Just the sofas were not going to help because the sitting capacity was getting reduced.
Right.
So what we did was we utilized the pillars as sitting places.
Right.
So we made a few high stools and high batches.
The way you have done it. Yeah.
So this way what happens is the pillars also get utilized. There is place for people to sit over there as well. And we still get places
enough area to
roam around as well.
Right.
So now you can see there is distance between that table and this table as well. So there is place for people to walk around, for waiters to come and serve. And these factors are very important. In space management, you have to understand you are not the person who is actually going to use the place. It's the people who are working over there, they also have to
come.
At Russia's people run around in these kinds of places.
True.
So you have to give them place so that they can walk in properly, do their work, take the plates, bring the food. So you have to understand, keep these factors in your mind as well.
Right.
The comfort of your service staff. So these factors you have to understand. People don't really take these points into consideration or deciding on the layout. End of the day, what happens is once the workplace starts, it becomes operational. So then they face these kinds of issues, and then they feel cramped up.
It's evident.
And it becomes uncomfortable.
It is.
Dishes fall here and there. Someone pushing someone else.
Right.
It's not. It just happens. You can't really help it. It's better to avoid these kinds of things. Allow a little bit of extra area for service. These points are very important.
Another point, a lot of restaurateurs, they do kind of, face challenges regarding the lights, the lighting. A lot of space I have seen people make it too dark, and a lot of space is too lit.
Too bright.
Too bright. So, I mean, what do you think, how can you choose a good lighting?
See, the place where you need lighting is a table, where you're keeping the food. You're looking at the food and eating from there. You know where the fork is. You know where the plate is. You know where the things are kept. So you need lights on the tables, but don't need lights on the face of the customers. You need lights on where you want to highlight places. Maybe some graffiti on the wall, or maybe a frame on the wall. So you need lights on those pieces like that. And you should avoid putting lights in places where it is not near the guests. Near the comfort area of the guests. You should keep highlights there because it will disturb the guests. So also it will depend on the kind of color you're using and so what kind of light you're using around the curtain. It's a dull color, you need a little more brighter light. If the color of the walls is a little bright, then maybe you'll be needing a little dim light. So it depends on various factors and how you should play with the light. But yeah, and light also does, some lights looks more spacious, and some use of lights will make it look smaller. So it depends on the total arrangement, how you're putting, where the seatings are, what kind of accessories you're using. which wall do you want, you want to highlight,
Right.
which wall you want to accessorize, and put spots so that you can see the spotlight, that is, so that you can see the accessories and things like that.
So, what I feel personally that it depends on the psychology of the consumers.
Right.
What I'll tell you, what we are living in an era where we have to be multifunctional. Most of the places nowadays, they are going for they are trying to be multifunctional. So this place we decided it to be a pub. So when it comes to a pub, the lighting has to be a little more, because people come over here, they come to talk, they like their friends who come and talk.
Right.
So you need not have dim light. But in the evening, this place is used as a nightclub. So when it comes to nightclub, there are laser lights which are there. So the total overall light has to be a little less. So you cannot have two kinds of light operating with one particular light set, right?
Right.
No. What we do is we can use dimmers.
Okay.
What dimmer does is you can operate the same light set, you can dim it as low
control
as
it.
you can, and you can get the highest capacity of the bulb as well. So in that way, what it does is it solves your problem of the dim light as well as as much amount of light as you need. That is one thing. The other thing is, what happens is people tend to forget that you don't need lights on the faces. In any place you need light on the menu, but you don't need light for people to hit their eye, because gradually after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it becomes very uncomfortable for the person.
It does.
So the best thing to do is try and use the lights from the back. So that's the natural tendency of the light to spread. So this is how what happens is, if the light set is at the back of the head, it's not going to hit the customer eyes in any way, but it still falls on the menu part.
Right.
Yeah, so it helps, and the food when it comes, because you have to show the food as well. Now
Right.
people are very comfortable with taking photos of their food and putting it
They
on
will.
Instagram, and that's
Absolutely.
the culture now.
Right.
But so you need light for that as well. So you need that amount of light so that the food is visible, but it doesn't hit the customer in that way.
No, I mean, see, psychology of light is very important, as you
plays-
mentioned.
it plays a very
If it's a pub, if it's a lounge, it has to be dim, but not that dim that is nothing is visible. I mean, it doesn't matter, if we are not being able to see each other, but it does matter a lot if we are not being able to see read the menu, or if we are not being able to click good pictures, because as you said, it is the culture. People will be going somewhere and they'll keep on clicking
They
pictures. I ate this. This
I
was
ate this.
good. This was nice. People are clicking selfies with picture food, man. Seriously. And again, if it gets into, if it's a cafe, what I believe is the lighting should be proper, should be visible, should be clear and bright.
Right.
Because you are selling munchies there, you're selling quick, fast food out there. So you do not expect your guests to stay there, for more than an hour maximum. So whenever you want your customers to be staying there at the table more than an hour and keep on ordering, so you gotta change the mood. You gotta play with that. Why don't you do one thing? Why don't you show us what the ambient lighting does, and we can actually show what the ambient lighting does and how
I
it changes
can-
the mood.
How you change the mood? I can actually show you the louder feel of the light.
Right.
How it's declining and it's going to its lowest point as well, as if just the bulb's filaments will be lighted
Yeah,
up, and it's
right.
not going to play a part of like lighting up the whole place. It will create an ambience, as in it's a very dim light, it's
Right.
very soothing,
Right.
and it becomes, light plays a very important part in the place being cozy. Like if you have a loud light or a very loud light, the place doesn't feel very cozy. But if it's a little dim light, people get comfortable.
Right.
So this will play an important. I can show it to you. That's
So
not
let's do this. I'm really not sure that how far we'll be able to make you feel the thing unless you come and experience it on your own. But at least I feel to some extent we'll be able to give you the feel what kind of decor and what kind of mood changes along with the lighting. So let's do this.
See, when we were talking about like being multifunctional lights and trying to play with the moods and different kinds of things. So what we do is now we can see the bulbs are at their full capacity. So what you can do is you can install dimmers and you can use them. See, now you can gradually see the lights actually falling, getting dimmed, and the mood of the place is actually changing as well. Now it's becoming much more darker, much more cozy, and getting the feel of being in a lounge, or you can say as a nightclub as well. Now if you increase the light, it will give you a feel of a pub, a cafe, or anything which you want. Makes it much more comfortable for people to see and talk among themselves.
Alright, so that was amazing, that experience, I'm not sure how far you actually could feel it, but I'm sure we are kind of, we were able to show you how the mood changes according to the light. So anything else, Rahul, that you want to share regarding space management? I mean, we have shared a lot today.
There are a lot of things which we can actually talk about. Like the washroom also is important.
It is.
Like washroom, how big you want. You need guys washroom. You need a girls washroom. Like what?
You know what?
A lot of demarcations are there.
The book says always that you should be having your washroom just placed just next to the kitchen, so that you can have a common water lines and plumbing lines. Do you really agree to the fact?
No, I really don't agree to the fact.
It doesn't matter. Actually.
No, it doesn't matter actually. Now. See, the plumbing lines can go from the floor, it can go from inside the walls, I can do it however I want.
Actually.
So that is not very important when it comes to places. Yes, that plays a part, like if you can have, but it has to be near to the main drainage line, what we call it.
I mean, see, you can place, but we have to think about the costing as well. The more you want to stretch the line, the more cost is getting added as well.
So what we try and do is we try and go to the external walls, where we can play around with the pipes and it reduces the cost.
Right.
So we do like that. There's a lots of things which you have to understand. Like basically, very important is to finalize your layouts. That's the first most important thing. Finalize your layouts. Get your sitting capacity sorted out. What is your sitting capacity? Fit them over there. Be comfortable. Tape that whole area up.
Right.
Get comfortable. Get a walkthrough of the whole place, and then start your work.
True.
Because taping plays an important part.
It's very important.
It helps you to understand exactly how a person is going to sit, where a person is going to sit, what is the place for walking which you need, and then you can start your work by deciding on the theme, and the rest of the things will come a little later on. But there are lots of other things.
Fair enough. So, Mr. Basu, anything you want to add?
Lots of things. There are a couple of odd angles, and odd spaces which you have to cover. You have to see where the angles are. How can you use it? Maybe you can use it for storage. Maybe you can use it for something else. There are lots of things to be covered, but I think we have covered a lot of things, which we can start off and do a good space management.
It is. So fair enough, guys. I think it was a great discussion, and it was worth the wait. I'm sure. I mean, whoever are watching our videos on a regular basis, I think it was worth the wait for you guys. You completely. I apologize once again that we couldn't deliver an episode last weekend. But this is what was going in my mind, so that I can actually show you practically. Just apart from talking, besides talking and discussion, I really wanted to show you the actual layout and how we are actually planning, stuff, and how we are actually doing layouts. So I think all said and done. Next episode, definitely I'm not disclosing today what is coming, but I will be disclosing it as I come, with my teasers around midweek. And space management was a topic of discussion for today, and we have covered a lot. And apart from that, if you have your own restaurant, your own planning, your own ideas, do not hesitate to go and discuss with somebody who's pro in it and get your restaurant going. So without much further ado, I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks to Rahul, thanks to Abhishek, for joining. As usual, you guys will be in other episodes as well. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. If you like the video, please like the video, comment down below if you have any suggestion or if you have any queries, and do not forget to share our video. And you have a plan, we are there to help you. Thank you for watching Restaurant Marketing Session from 5 Phoron. I'm Imon, signing off today.